Hey, welcome to the Dray Way. I'm glad you're here. It is an absolutely beautiful day here in Las Vegas. It's sunny and about 78 degrees. It is absolutely gorgeous. But I don't want to talk about Vegas today. I want to talk about, believe it or not, I want to talk about some real estate, and I want to talk about what's happening with the red states. There are some things that are going on that I think you need to be aware of. And the good thing is that here at this show, you're going to be told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me. So let's get going. We got a good show today. Let's go! The red states are really suffering, especially in the South right now. They're suffering because they're going through the beginnings of a real estate crash that's going to go on for years. And we can try to slice it any way we want, but things are getting difficult down there. And when I say things are getting difficult, from what I understand, in states like Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, they are starting to pull over drivers as you cross the state. Yeah, I'm getting reports that they're starting to stop drivers, asking them for their license, asking about where they're going. I mean, there is a lot of people getting pulled over for really no good reason, but just to check their immigration, check where they're going. And it just, if that doesn't scare you, I don't know what does. And not that I want to go visit Georgia or Florida or Tennessee or Alabama anyway. I have no interest in driving to any of those states. But for those of you that do, I want you to hit me up because, like I said, I've had a couple of friends tell me that they're being harassed when they cross state lines. And I want to see if they're just maybe they were unlucky or if this is something that has really taken place. Because, again, red states have their own issues right now as it is. I don't think red states understand just how bad it's going to get. And it's going to get really, really bad because this is what they voted for. They voted for things to be bad. I know red states don't want things to be bad. I know the people there want to prosper and do well. But how is that going to happen when, you have so many needs in these red states, particularly when it comes to subsidizing your lifestyle, having something like a hospital nearby, having something, how about just having for seniors, having healthcare senior facilities for seniors? All of those things are probably going to go away. Yeah. And it's just because the lack of money, the lack of funding. And that is what's going to make things even more difficult for these red states, is just the way of life is going to change dramatically, especially with what's happening, like I said now, in real estate as well. Because real estate, in the South a few years ago, it was going up. Real estate and life is easy when prices are going up. When real estate prices are going down, life is not so easy. In fact, life is a lot harder. In certain areas of Florida, they're experiencing housing underwater. What that means is their house isn't worth as much as they owe. And that is becoming an increasing problem in Louisiana, Tennessee, Florida, Texas, all along the South. And that's because those areas are crashing. And those prices over the next 5-6 months are going to keep going downward. Now, in the next spring, next year, it's going to be extremely important what type of real estate bump we get. Do we get people actually looking to buy next spring? Because over the next 6 months, across the country, you're just going to see real estate prices going down and down and down. And that's the same thing here in Vegas. It's the same thing in Phoenix, Arizona. It's the same thing throughout Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida. prices going down for the next 6 months. And what that means is there's going to be more and more people that are literally underwater. Because if you didn't buy in 2021 or earlier, yeah, if you bought in 2023 or later, yeah, you're in trouble. Your house is very possibly in 2026 going to be worth less than what you paid for it. Now, that's not true for people, say, in New Jersey and New York and areas up there. But down in the South, you're going to be underwater in a lot of instances. Like in Cape Coral, I don't care what anybody says, Cape Coral is a complete disaster. Cape Coral real estate, if you gave me a house in Cape Coral, I wouldn't take it. Cape Coral is looking at nothing but misery from a real estate standpoint for years to come. And there are so many empty buildings and so many projects that have stopped. I can't even imagine why anyone would want to move in that area. But Southwest Florida is struggling. And I've been talking about it I can't even begin to tell you how long I was talking about Southwest Florida. It seems like forever. It seems like I've been talking about Southwest Florida forever. But now it's just the red states are in trouble because when people have all of their net worth tied in their house and that goes away, yeah, when you start owing more on your house than what it's worth and your net worth is tied up in your house and now you don't have any net worth, yeah, it's a recipe for disaster, and it just doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good for any of those red states because, again, we have an administration that really isn't doing anything to help improve the situation. And I talked about that last night because the job market across the country is just looking so bad. And now I actually, as I look what's happening with the real estate in the red states, including Nevada, including Las Vegas, you can see the storm. You can see it's going to get bad here in Las Vegas. It's going to get bad in Phoenix. It's going to continue to get worse throughout Texas. The foreclosure market in Texas is going to skyrocket. Same thing in Florida. Same thing in Georgia. Georgia, I don't talk about it very often, but Atlanta, Georgia is a complete mess. From a real estate standpoint, yeah, I would just stay away. And I want you to know the next 6 months, every month is just going to be bad, just bad news after bad news after bad news. But pay very, very close attention to what happens next spring. Because if we don't get some excitement, some bump of some sort, and we have another selling season like we did this season, you're talking about a complete real estate collapse over the next 4 years. And I mean complete. I mean very reminiscent of 2008, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, we're going to see something very, very similar. And that's going to affect millions of people. And I don't know, are you really going to, if you were affected by the first crash and you're affected by the second crash, how likely are you to buy a house again? I know I'm never doing it again. I'm asking you, if you're stung once and then stung again, are you going to take a chance on getting stung a third time? Let me know in the comments. Welcome to the Dray Way. I am so glad you're here. Don't go anywhere. Part 2 to the Dray Way coming up next. Tariffs. I listened to the president talk about tariffs. I listened to the president actually brag that, did you see the CBO score? If we just keep the tariffs where they're at, we're going to pay back $4 trillion. Who's going to pay back that $4 trillion, Mr. President? You keep pretending like it's other countries that are going to pay that $4 trillion. If we left the tariffs in place to 2035, which will never happen, Americans will run out of money long before that happens. But yeah, it's driving me crazy that he's talking about it like, oh, look what I did. Look what I fixed. Meanwhile, prices are just absolutely soaring. And you can see the pain on everyone's face. You sit at the meat counter and you look at people and they just stand there. And I've never seen this before, but I just went to the grocery store yesterday and I started walking towards the meat aisle and stuff like that because I wanted to get Italian sausage. And I saw like a group of like 7 people, and they weren't reaching for anything. They were just simply standing there. And they were standing there, and I think they were standing there because they just simply couldn't believe the prices. They just simply couldn't believe, like the other day when I went with my mom to Costco. My mom loves to go to Costco, and we were rolling by the beef, and I saw a Wagyu steak. And I said, hey, Mom, how would you like to get a Wagyu steak? Take a look. And I picked it up, and steak about this big, and I showed it to her, and she goes, what does that say? I said, that says $268. She goes, what? For a steak? I said, yeah, this is a Wagyu steak. They want $268. She goes, you put that back. You put that back. You put that back. I said, don't worry. We're not getting a Wagyu steak. I could care less. I've had Wagyu. It's not that big a deal. It's really not that big a deal. But yeah, that's what it was like going to the grocery store and just watching people standing there. And folks, we gotta figure out what we're gonna do. We have to figure out as a country, what do we do next? And I say that because some people have been talking to me about, why are you talking about Gavin Newsom? I'm talking about Gavin Newsom, and I'm talking about 2028 because I want to focus on the future, and I don't want to deal too much in the present. I don't want to focus with what's going on right now, because like I said, we now have things going on in red states that doesn't even sound American. Does it sound American to you that you can't even drive through red states without getting pulled over and asked for your papers? I mean, doesn't that feel really Germany-like? That you can just be pulled over and asked for your papers and where are you headed? Where are you going? What is your legal status? What is this? What is that? And I mean, I don't know. I don't know, people. I don't know about you, but the whole thing just, it has me upset, and it has me, as you can tell, just kind of rambling, because I don't know what to say anymore about all the things that are taking place. I don't know what to even focus on, because every time I turn around, there is something new. There's something more horrible, like a president sitting there bragging about tariffs that we end up paying. The importer pays the tax and then passes the price on to us. And then we have a president going, oh, look at all the money I'm getting from all these countries. No, you're not getting them from countries. Stop saying that. It's coming from us. It's coming from the people that import the goods. I've said it 1,000 times. I'm going to say it again. China hasn't paid $1 to the U.S. in tariffs. Either has Canada. Either has Germany, France, Brazil. They haven't paid a single dollar in tariffs. Not one. You know who's paid it? The importers, and they've passed the price on to us. So all that money you're bragging about, yeah, that's coming from us, you idiot. Let me know what you think. Don't go anywhere. Part 3 to the Dray Way coming up next. The president is trying to fire that woman from the Federal Reserve. She has a tenure that's like 12 or 14 years long. He's trying to get rid of her. He wants to stack the whole thing just to drag down interest rates and to make interest rates dangerously low. That's why on this show I have talked repeatedly about gold. And I'm going to continue to talk about gold because the inflation that we are going to see over the next 6 months is going to be pretty devastating. Even with housing prices going down across the South, I don't know if the housing prices going down can offset everything else that is just skyrocketing in price. And I'm talking about it when, when people are showing receipts and stuff from 2, 3, 4 years ago, you can see where prices have gone up 30, 40, 50, sometimes 100% in just a few years. And I just don't. What are we supposed to hang our hat on? What are we supposed to do when we have a government that doesn't really have answers, and doesn't have answers because we can tell there's no bills being passed to help out American citizens. There's nothing in the House, there's nothing in the Senate, there's nothing they're working on to make life better for Americans. So it's on us. It's on us to try to figure it out. And one thing I do know for sure, Trump and this administration is extremely inflationary. And one of the things to combat inflation is a solid asset like gold. So yes, I will continue to talk about gold and other investments such as the stock market. You can believe the stock market is going to crash all you want. I don't care. I can remember when the stock market crashed in October of, I believe it was October of 87. And I on that day, I was buying into the market with Barb Cease. Barb and I were buying. So, and she was coaching me and saying, Drayton, the market always comes back. The market always comes back. So this is a buying opportunity. Let's buy all we can. And that's what I did. So I'm not even worried. If the market drops 5,000 points, it's just going to be on, stuff will be on discount. And I'll buy some more. But just like she said, and I believe it to be true, the market just comes back. The market just sets new records and American business just keeps going along. So between having ownership of a few great companies and a solid portfolio of gold, I think that is currently the best way to protect yourself, especially with an administration like this where you just don't know. Like I said, we have a president that's bragging about tariffs and still saying things like other countries pay that. They don't. And it's pissing me off at this point. Stop pretending that other countries are paying that tariff, Mr. President. We pay it. And people are finding that out when they go to Walmart or Target or some of these stores. They're finding out real quick who pays the tariff. That's the show for today. Thanks for stopping by. Please hit the subscribe button. There is a new Dray Way each and every day, and I would love for you to stop by. Thanks for stopping by today. Hope to see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.
Watch this. I can do it. Let's go!
No, good. He does it better. Much better.